In a challenging market, what's your marketing mindset? Welcome to This Week in Marketing. My name is Jason Pantana. I'm your host, and I'm glad you're here. If you're new to the channel, we invite you to please subscribe. And there's a bell icon right next to the subscribe button that if you tap it, it turns on notifications. So you get alerted whenever we publish new videos just like this one here. We publish this show, This Week in Marketing, on a weekly basis, so we can talk about what's happening and what's relevant and where the opportunities exist in marketing. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Market leaders don't follow the market. Market leaders double down and rise, especially during downturns, especially during times of hardship. Go back to the Great Depression, for instance. When everybody was freaking out, it was insanity. All these major companies were pulling their advertising budgets, but guess who wasn't? Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble said, no, we stay the course. They continued their advertising. And when they did that, while everybody else was just dropping like flies around them, they cemented themselves as the dominant market force during that period of time. During their present state, there's a ripple effect. They also positioned themselves to be the clear market leaders for generations thereafter. Here's the principle. The work you do now from a marketing standpoint is going to determine your brand of the future. So what are you building? And it isn't just Procter & Gamble. Think about Apple. When did Apple release the iPhone? Well, the answer is in 2007, literally going into the Great Recession. The question is, did the recession help or hurt them? And I would make the argument it helped them because they were in a market environment where everybody else was freaking out. Once again, just like what Procter & Gamble was up against, everybody was cutting their spend. Everybody was playing small. Everybody was retracting and trying to play it safe, but not Apple. Apple doubled, tripled, quadrupled down. Apple innovated in a landscape when nobody else was. And guess what it did? It cemented them as the dominant players in the marketplace. They crushed everybody in that environment. But it wasn't just that environment. It was the long haul. They forecasted their future with the work they did during that period of time. The marketing work you do in a difficult market will have a compound impact on not just the present state of you thriving in a hard market, but your future state. So what are you building? What's your brand and where are you taking it right now? What is your marketing mindset? My advice is to brand your ground and don't back down. Because guess what? There's a lot of agents, a lot of your peers in the marketplace who are marketing reactively, not proactively, reactively. I call it crisis marketing. There's no inventory. I better do some marketing. I better call my sphere of influence. I better send out a postcard. It's desperation. And I'm not saying it to be condescending. I'm not saying you can't market when times are tough and you need some food because you're in a state of famine. I'm simply saying the market leaders never stop marketing. Whether it's good or bad or otherwise, fast markets, slow markets, up markets, down markets, strong markets, weak markets, no matter the market circumstances, no matter the market conditions, never stop marketing. So the question is, with the market being what it is, what will you do next in terms of building your brand and establishing your supremacy, your dominance in your local marketplace? I have a few ideas you may consider, and some of them are small. Some of them are tactics. Some of them are big and strategic. Some of them are inexpensive. Some of them are cost prohibitive. I leave that up to you to decide what are you building and what's going to be the marketing channel, the mechanism through which you communicate your message to the masses of your local market environment. And it doesn't have to be overly complex or complicated. For instance, Jay Pitts, one of our rockstar coaching clients and team leaders and broker owners based in Louisville, Kentucky, who has a dominant market presence. He is a dominant player in his community already. Well, guess what? He is strategically buying out every single shopping cart at the key grocery stores around the areas where he does the most business. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should only put your money in shopping carts. That seems random, but too many folks aren't looking at something like that to say, well, could that be the extra little bit that gets me more brand awareness and gets people talking? Because Jay told me on a recent coaching session, he gets more feedback and more people calling him about those shopping carts because they're used to seeing him everywhere than he does his postcards. Every now and again, you got to mix it up and innovate the ways in which you're communicating your brand. I want to see you everywhere because it could be as simple as buy out the shopping carts at the key grocery stores in the areas where you do business. Or you may be thinking about going big. Think about billboards, for instance. Now, there are rock stars in our ecosystem of coaching clients who buy out lots of billboards, and you may be limited by your budget in terms of lots of billboards. but nothing's stopping you from going after the most strategic billboards. Think about rock stars who are members of our coaching community, like Nadine Blakely, like Sandra Pike, like Jen Dillard in different markets, who are buying out strategic billboards so that the consumer who drives by them day after day can't help but see them. There they are again, building up familiarity and creating awareness. I was chatting with Sandra Pike about this, and yeah, inventory's low in her marketplace. She's incrementally gaining market share. She's invested strategically. In fact, she, for the first time ever, is getting into billboards because she's cleaning up mind share and market share, even though the marketplace is difficult. The work you do now has a compound ripple effect in terms of the future brand you're building. Are you investing in your brand today for the future returns and dividends it will one day bring you? Not just the present thriving in today's marketplace, but the future state of you as the ultimate agent of influence. Hey, do you need to level up your online marketing strategy? I get it, the tech can be intimidating, but if you don't leverage the tools, you're leaving opportunity on the table. So if you're looking to level up your video strategy, your social media strategy, your email marketing strategy, your local SEO Google business profile strategy, then be sure to check out Marketing Pro. It's 3 online courses with those topics in mind, delivered by me. It's video-based with step-by-step tutorials and on-screen demonstrations, so you can go from rookie to rockstar and level up the tools of the day. Just click the link in the description for more details. Now, postcards may seem old school to you, or maybe cost prohibitive, or maybe they're just not what you should do something else perhaps, and I would argue that, yeah, you could do something else, but I certainly wouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Postcards work. Postcards are tangible, they're kinesthetic, they're held in the hands of homeowners who may one day decide to sell or refer you. And so this is a game of consideration. This is a game of awareness. Are you on the radar of prospective homeowners who are looking to sell or not? And postcards are key to that. But it's not just a strategic postcard here and now, it's the repetition. The results are always in the repetition. I'm thinking about one of our coaching rock stars, Judy Michaelis. She's the #1 listing agent in Westport, Connecticut, has been for 7 years, and she sends out her famously pink postcards twice a month and never stops. Her brand is everywhere, and she positions herself as the listing agent of choice, and it is a self-fulfilling prophecy because she is, in fact, their listing agent of choice in her community. The marketing you do matters. Matt Curtis, one of our coaching rock stars, runs the #1 team in the state of Alabama, based in Huntsville, Alabama, and he has, over the course of his career, generated a lot of email addresses, over 50,000 email addresses, and he sends out 2 emails every single week. They're value add. They position him as the top agent of choice. If you have an email list and you aren't working it, you're missing a mega opportunity because email is the GOAT, the greatest of all time digital marketing channel there is, and you're not sending enough email. Phil Gertis from Annapolis, he creates merch. He literally sells on Etsy and gives away as swag hats and hoodies and shirts and bags. He sells clothing, apparel, effectively. He actually gives a lot of it away because he wants everybody walking around wearing his gear, his brand everywhere, and it positions him as a leader. In marketing, there's a concept about making your marketing observable, making your brand observable. For instance, old school MacBooks back in the day, the apple used to be upside down so that when the lid was shut, the apple would be right side up facing its owner. Steve Jobs said, well, hey, when the lid is open, the apple's upside down for everybody to see. Let's make it right side up so we can position our brand better. He wanted that observable factor. When you think about retailers, they've got their big bags with their logos because they want people to see their stuff. Phil Gertis is doing the same idea with hoodies, jackets, shirts, hats. It's just another way of positioning his brand everywhere. Coach David Caldwell, who runs an amazing brokerage and team outside of Portland, is famously known for his YouTube ads. He runs those YouTube commercials all the time, where what he does is delivers a once-a-month market update on what's happening with housing values, and he runs the ad targeting every homeowner in the community, winning their mind share, showcasing his competence and his capabilities. When it comes time to list their house, they're like, this guy's an absolute pro. He and many others in our ecosystem are having crazy success in terms of attracting listings and showing proof of competence through YouTube commercials, and you could too. Another one of our rockstar coaches, Sean Ryan, based out of Sarnia, Lambton, Ontario, runs Google Display Network ads. You've seen these ads as you peruse the internet, as you navigate through games on your phone or different apps. You'll see square-shaped, wide and skinny, tall and skinny, pop up. They're in the footer. You see these ads everywhere, and you wonder often, how are those ads getting in front of me? They're put there by Google. They're part of the Google Display Network ads, and they are ridiculously cheap. You can get about 300 impressions for the cost of one stamp with these things. So what Sean Ryan does is he puts his face, his logo, his brand, his name, and he shows it to everybody everywhere. He targets his town like crazy so that they see him literally everywhere. This is kind of like the shopping carts. This is not an end-all be-all marketing channel, but it's a connective tissue. It's an extra layer of, oh my goodness, there you are again. I see you everywhere. Those are Google Display Network ads, and they could be another tool that you use to establish and cement your brand. One of our Rockstar coaching clients and team leaders out of Virginia Beach, Chris Weaver, runs radio ads like a boss. And you're like, radio ads? Radio ads, specifically not streaming services, local radio stations. He runs ads, and they're kind of expensive, but not overly expensive when you look at their ROI. He runs ads on key channels during the key hours, multiple times a day, and people hear him all the time. Now, his ads are generally an offer for get a home valuation, text this number, something like that. So they're lead generating in nature. So it's easy for his team to be able to convert those leads over time. What you need to consider is how do you get your brand in front of the consumer through all the senses? Sight, sound, the touch of postcards, through all the senses, and then committed to memory. Position your brand everywhere. The agent of now and the future has a recognizable brand. And this show couldn't be complete if we didn't talk about social media and video, like what rock stars that we've highlighted on this show so many times. Ken Pozek, Katie Day, Paige Speckling, as you know, Utah Paige on Instagram. They are absolutely dominating on social media. Now, their agent-to-agent referral community is enormous. Their relationships with their sphere of influence and their town is incredible, and their content is so locally charged that the algorithms are literally showing their content to locals who maybe didn't know who they were before they watched the video, but then they watched the video, and then another video, and another video, and another video. If you're not leveraging video to build your brand, if you're not leveraging social media to build your brand, you're missing arguably the greatest marketing opportunity that's ever been presented to you as a business owner. Events are another channel to consider utilizing to build your brand and position yourself to win everywhere, to be more recognizable. We've done an episode on this show before that we can link up in the notes with Dave Archuleta talking about his softball league, his beer and wine clubs, and his different events that he does to charge his local community and create a sense of togetherness with everybody. His events are an absolute magnet for building his brand. So many agents are just marketing their listings, or I don't have any listings, therefore I have no marketing. Or they're making calls like, hey, who do you know? Because they don't have a plan. If you intend to be a market leader, a top producer, then your marketing cannot be contingent on just the state of the market. You must transcend the market because it doesn't matter what the market is. You're always the guide. You're the solution for the consumer in whatever the state of the market is, and your marketing has to reflect that. And finally, a last idea is that you step up and leverage SEO through your Google business profile. One of our Rockstar coaching clients, Brandon Howe, is absolutely dominating on his Google business profile. He's getting found by prospective sellers and customers week by week by week and picking up listings basically for free because he's all about getting reviews and he's all about dominating on SEO, search engine optimization. And the same is true for Ben Lalez, who's based out of Chicago. His phone's ringing nearly off the hook because people are looking for the best realtor. His reviews, his profile is so optimized that he's positioned to win those calls because he's using Google. My point to you today is build your brand. The agent of the future, the agent of now, has a strong, recognizable brand. And I'm looking out across what I'm seeing in the real estate space, and the agents and the teams who are winning are the ones who are invested in their marketing. If you're not building your brand, then you're falling behind and you're leaving a foothold in your marketplace for somebody else to step in and be, not, I don't want to say the hero, but to be that dominant leader. In a state like this, in a market like this, people are looking for someone to follow. Are you the person to follow? Are you positioning yourself as the I know you, like you, trust you, expert authority of real estate in your market? And if you're not, well, this is your invitation to consider doing it. You just heard a whole slew of channels that could be utilized for getting your word out, getting the message out. But my advice to you is to follow through. The results are in the repetition. It's the marketing you do consistently over time that's going to build your brand. So build it, and they will come. And tell us, what are you doing to establish your brand from a marketing standpoint? Tell us in the comments. And if this video resonates, share it with somebody else. Pass it along to a friend or a peer who needs to hear this message today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next week, this is This Week in Marketing.